We have got an incredible tale for you this week. This is a story of how a clear vision combined with positive action and an unimaginably positive spirit can take you anywhere you want to go. And this is the tale of Bessie Coleman. Now, Bessie Coleman has inspired us so much of the project to the point where now we ask ourselves in moments of doubt, what would Bessie do? So Bessie Coleman was born in 1892 in Texas. And it's unimaginable to think about the persecution and conditions that she would have grown up and lived in. Not only was she a female in a very male-dominated world, but she was a member of the black community during one of the darkest chapters of American history. She was fighting sexism and racism, yet despite all of that and all of those challenges, she literally rose and achieved something incredible, and it's my privilege to tell you Bessie's story today. Now, it was Bessie Coleman's dream to become a pilot. That's all she wanted to do. She had moved up from Texas to Chicago, got a job as a manicurist in a barber shop, and whilst working in there, she was hearing tales of daring do's from the First World War, aviation and flight. This was a very, very new and exciting world. The aviators who were flying at that time were pioneers. The first flight had happened in 1903. So for Bessie Coleman to even be considering such a thing was seen as ludicrous. She was literally laughed at, but she declared openly, I'm gonna fly. I want to fly. And she got to work. Now, just put into perspective the times she was living through and the limited opportunities she had, but that did not deter her. It was absolutely incredible. She applied to get a license in America and was laughed at. They said, absolutely no way. But again, she came back to the drawing board and moved forward with this incredibly positive attitude and took positive action. And that's what this is all about. This is Action Month. Her vision was set. She wanted to be a pilot, and she knew that the gap from where she was now to where she wanted to be was positive action. So Bessie got to work. She made some inquiries and realized that actually the attitude in Europe was slightly different to what it was in America, and aviators were, whoever they were seen as pioneers and seen as heroes. So she was like, okay, I need to go to Europe. And what do I need to get there? So she realized that she needed money, and perhaps she needed to know the language. So Bessie Coleman started to learn French that year with no guarantees at all. She spoke to a friend of hers, incredibly talked him around into becoming a sponsor, and before she knew it, in 1920, Bessie Coleman, speaking fluent French, was on her way to Europe to undertake this incredible adventure. Now, there were no guarantees. She was on a quest, and she just backed herself at every single stage, regardless of what people thought. Judgment didn't mean anything to Bessie Coleman. In fact, it fueled her. It pushed her forward. Like, this was her quest. This is what she was going to do. She knew that she was going to be a pilot, and it was just a case of making it happen. So she arrived in France and was welcomed with open arms and took to flight incredibly naturally. She was amazing. She was a born aviatrix, and I love that word, aviatrix. How cool is that? She proved that she was an incredible pilot. She proved that she belonged in the sky. She believed that there was no racism in the air. There was no injustice in the air, only purity. And in 1921, Bessie Coleman became the first black female to hold a pilot's license, and an international pilot's license at that. Amazing. Like I say, Chaz and I ask ourselves regularly, what would Bessie Coleman do in this situation? And hers is a story of tenacity and clear vision and action. Now, she returned to America with her pilot's license and absolutely wowed the American population. They couldn't believe A, who she was, B, what she was able to do. She was able to do loops and rolls and all these incredible things in her aircraft. And she became huge on the air show scene. Now, what she did at this moment in time was really become an activist. She was completely ahead of her time, and she would only display at air shows where the black community were allowed to use the same entrance as the white community. If they weren't allowed to, if they had to come in through a side door, she would not display. She used her power, her skill as an aviatrix, and used it towards activism to raise awareness for equality at a time when, God, it was needed. It's just unimaginable to think what they were living through, what she lived through. What a lady. Honestly, what an incredible lady. She not only lived this life of purpose, but she also left an incredible legacy. Now, Bessie Coleman's dream was to start her own flying school that was accessible to all, no matter who you were, what gender, race, religion, it didn't matter. If you had a love for flight, that's what she wanted to do, open an air school for everyone. Now, sadly, in 1926, Bessie Coleman lost her life. She was thrown from her aircraft at 8,000 feet and sadly fell to her death. But 2 years afterwards, the Bessie Coleman Flying School was opened, and her legacy remains and lived long after her death. Now, she inspired future generations. The Tuskegee Airmen of the Second World War, these incredible pilots, the Red Tails, the first black squadron, were completely inspired and empowered and enabled by the story of Bessie Coleman. It's just incredible, and it struck such a chord with us. Now, I have to be honest, this story takes me way out of my comfort zone. I don't overly feel qualified to talk about racism or sexism, but we are just truly inspired by the story of Bessie Coleman, and we want to share positive messages from the past and the present. The Tally Ho Project is our expression and our love for people, the story of people. And there haven't been many that have struck us the way Bessie Coleman's story has done. She combined having this clear vision of being able to stay really true to that purpose and combining that vision with positive action. And that's the name of the game. That took her wherever she wanted to be. And actually, Bessie's story holds us accountable. For me personally, I think, do you know what? I haven't got any excuses. Like, if this person can literally rise to the skies in such a way, despite all those challenges, then surely everything is possible for all of us. And that's why we love the story of Bessie Coleman.